Thank you so much for being with me. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields, and I appreciate all the likes on yesterday's video. Thank you for putting a like on those, and to all the new subscribers as we spread the word about the weather that's coming and as we get into the upcoming hurricane season. Now, this is what's going on now. Everything is right on track from what we talked about yesterday. And thank you for building this weather community. I've been going through your comments really nonstop overnight and this morning. There's that big blob that is starting to work in. We're going to be on the edge of things in the ABC Islands and Jamaica. So let's get into that. I want to get into the computer models, the American, European, the rain totals island by island, and I also want to look at the possibility that this does develop into a tropical depression or even a tropical storm. Now, right now, on track from yesterday's video. So Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and the British Virgin Islands, we're getting ready for some flooding, especially if you're in some of those flood-prone areas, taking some of those flooding preparations, although some of the rain's starting to move in already for some of us. This will continue into Friday, at least that threat. Now, in Jamaica and the ABC Islands, as I was talking about yesterday, on the edge of that, especially back toward Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire, sometimes it looks like rain, sometimes we get a few showers. It's going to be a very close call in Aruba, and I want to show you why. And then watching the storms around Jamaica, we had some yesterday. We could get some isolated flooding. Now, here's the setup. Then we'll get into the rain totals and the possibility of development. This is the European model showing that rain. Now, the rain today, this is later in the day, moving into Haiti, the DR, and Puerto Rico. And just to the south, also some moisture building near the ABC Islands, Colombia, and northern Venezuela still. But we have a front back here. Here's Florida. A front back here. Here's Cuba. And as we get over toward Jamaica, that front continues to feed into the moisture. So it's moving in. If you haven't had any rain yet over toward Hispaniola, a lot of us, it's coming our way. Today is the day we're going to get that higher chance of rain into tomorrow. Now, tomorrow, you see the core of the system lifts to the north, but this is the tail end of it. And I want to show it to you in the American model too. The tail end of it is going to draw on some heavier rain, not for a lot of us, but for a few of us. But in that, we could get some tropical downpours and some flooding. And that's my thought. As this lifts to the north, we could see some rain eventually kind of on the backside of the system over toward the ABC Islands. And then once we work our way into Friday, core of the system gets closer to Bermuda. It may actually develop into a tropical storm or subtropical storm, but to the south of the core of it, you still see some green. There's that chance of rain still hanging around even as we get toward the end of the week. It's not as much, but any additional rain on top of the flooding, of course, that would cause some problems. And this is as we work our way Friday into Saturday. And by the way, we have other locations, Mexico, Belize, Honduras, way too hot. Livestock animals have been dying. We've had school closures. There's been water restrictions, power outages. I'm thinking of you with the heat, of course, tracking this storm, but also thinking of you where it's been way, way too dry and we've had that incredible heat. Now, incredible, bad sense of the term. Here's the tropical model. This is the American model. This is later today. You see that rain move in. Here's Jamaica, eastern Cuba. Still a chance of rain and storms in eastern Cuba and Jamaica. Isolated flooding. But as we go through today, tonight, into tomorrow, Haiti and the Dominican Republic, and then moving into Puerto Rico, that's where most of the rain will be. This is tomorrow morning into tomorrow afternoon. The core of the system, the middle of it, the kind of where the system's trying to develop, that'll move to the north. But you see tomorrow evening, there's a batch of some rain that'll work its way toward Puerto Rico and even the British and U.S. Virgin Islands. Then on Friday, the system lifts away, but there's still going to be a tail to these. As these types of systems move away, there's actually a tail. Somewhere we're going to still see some rain as we work our way into Friday, and that's what's hard to pinpoint. For example, here, you see the rain today working in toward Haiti in the Dominican Republic, but look at the ABC Islands and how close the tail end of this gets, and that's why it was so smart across Aruba, Curacao, to be monitoring this. I mentioned yesterday kind of monitor mode to see if we do get any flooding, and that'll continue the next few days, the possibility of some rain. You see by tomorrow, some of the rain moves into Puerto Rico, heavier chance of rain in Puerto Rico. We may see some moisture pull in from Venezuela up through the ABC Islands, but tomorrow into the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, a better chance of rain. And then this is on Friday. seeing some of the rain still around while most of it moves up toward Bermuda, and then watching over toward Panama, Costa Rica, and still Colombia for rain. Guyana and Suriname have been watching us. The rain chance stays high. We're going to still see some of the flooding, and then this here a problem. Mexico, even back through the Cayman Islands, parts of Cuba, Belize, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, parts of Nicaragua, way too dry. It has been just devastating with how dry and how hot it's been. Now, I'll get to the rain totals in a moment. First, let's get to the possibility that, hey, this develops into a tropical storm. It's not looking like that at this point, or at least over the next 24 hours. The water temperature is just one ingredient. They're about 29 degrees Celsius or 84 degrees Fahrenheit. That is good enough, warm enough for this to develop into a tropical storm. Plus, where this is headed, here's Puerto Rico, just to the north. You see this red and orange shading in here? Those are not just warm water temperatures, those are well above average water temperatures. The water's acting more like June or even July. So this is going to stay over relatively warm water, but water temperature is just one of so many ingredients if it will develop. Here's Cuba, here's Jamaica. You get over toward Trinidad and Tobago. You see this red in here? That's a lot of wind shear. So that prevents some development. So if this does try to spin up, it would feed off the warm water, but above our heads, it's very hostile up there, which is a good thing. That may prevent some development, but there is a chance this actually spins up into a tropical storm, at least tropical storm-like conditions moving into Bermuda on Saturday. I'll show you that in the big picture, and you can see it here. Here's Bermuda. Here's Trinidad, another spot we need to get some rain, St. Lucia and Barbados. Gusty winds as this moves in, as this flooding rain moves into parts of Haiti, the Dominican Republic, but in Puerto Rico. But as we work our way into Friday, jumping ahead, see more of a swirl right here and then lifting up toward Bermuda. Even some whites showing up in there. That would be some winds of 50 miles per hour or 80 kilometers an hour. So some gusty winds, and you see that big swirl right there. So it may get a name. It may be a tropical storm or a subtropical storm. But regardless, once we hit Saturday, we're going to get some gusty winds, nothing we can't handle in Bermuda. But Saturday in Bermuda, gusty tropical storm-like conditions will be moving in. Now, let me get to the rain totals and break it down as specifically as I can. Now, these are computer models, right? So this is not exactly what's going to happen. The weather does change. It'll fluctuate by a few kilometers or a few miles. And you see here, here's Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire. Here's Colombia, where we've had flooding, and back toward Venezuela. And you see toward Trinidad, up toward Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's hard to buy some rain. This is the next 3 days. Now, this is the tail end of it. Some heavier rain in the Caribbean over water, but it's going to be so close to Aruba, and I don't know if this will exactly move in with some heavier rain later today or tomorrow or even potentially Friday. We're just on the edge of it in Aruba. I've been mentioning that for days. ABC Islands, we've been just monitoring this, and that's still the case today, so that's still on track, but we're going to be on the edge of some heavier rain. It wouldn't be surprising if the tail end of this did just try to kind of draw on some of that moisture from Venezuela, as the American model was showing. But you're on top of this. Keep me posted on what you get or don't get the next several days across the ABC Islands, and I'll be sure to get back to you in the comments. Now, same thing in Jamaica. We've been in monitor mode. Heaviest rain to the east, but yesterday, as expected, the atmosphere is more unstable. Storms have been bubbling up. Some of us got some good downpours, and if we get some rain today, in some of the same spots, we could get some isolated flooding. We could get anywhere from 25 millimeters to 50 millimeters of rain, or an additional 1 to 2 inches of rain, especially on the east side. So that's what we're looking out for today. Now, this is where some of the dangerous weather will be. And I mentioned some life-threatening flooding, and I don't use that term lightly. That is what the scenario is with the rivers, the runoffs, the river crossings. A ton of heavy rain will try to work into Haiti and the Dominican Republic today. And these brighter colors again popping up, and that's not a good thing. Even more so, it wasn't showing as much in Haiti yesterday. It was showing a lot. We were talking about that, but it looks like we could get a good amount of rain, say over toward Jacmel, and then just lifting up toward the north. So point being, Haiti and the Dominican Republic, please spread the word, share this channel and the information. We are going to see dangerous river crossings. Some slides will happen. We'll watch out for some of those rocks. Of course, that could wash out some of the roads. Next couple of days, we could have easily, in some spots, over 100 millimeters of rain or over 4 inches of rain. plus. It could be much higher than that, just depending on how this shakes out. Now we get toward Puerto Rico and the British Virgin Islands and the U.S. Virgin Islands, Tortola, St. Thomas, you get towards St. John, St. Croix, a lot of islands in between as well, and then you get back through Puerto Rico. Now, St. Croix and Puerto Rico, just as an example, we had flooding in some spots over the last couple of weeks. Some of the rivers are still up in some spots, so additional rain just not a good thing, and you can see the totals. You see a core of rain. This would be easily over 100 millimeters of rain, but this here, I mentioned how this is a model, right? So hang with me. This could be over here, or this could be a little bit over here. It doesn't take much to change that, but this just shows me that in the atmosphere, there's going to be a ton of moisture trying to pump in. Yeah, some spots may not get a whole lot. Some of us 25 millimeters or an inch of rain, but other spots could be upwards of 100, 150 millimeters of rain, or 4 to upwards of 6 inches of rain. So you see it here. That's the surge of moisture. Now, back to the west, you've got a front here that's kind of helping to steer this up toward Bermuda. This front here, devastating weather over toward Iowa. It actually flattened, for the most part, a town, and I don't say that lightly either. In Iowa, we were thinking of them. It was a big, deadly tornado. Another severe weather outbreak will be possible a little more to the south today. So watching that, thinking of our friends here with that very rough weather. We've got rough weather here and very rough weather over here. So you can see how this system is starting to work its way in. There's Mexico, just too dry over toward Belize. But as we go out in time, this is later today, and then taking ahead into, you see some of the storms there, into our Thursday. We have this system here. Look at that moisture just feeding in. So over toward the Bahamas, by the way, Turks and Caicos, I'm watching this as well. I'll get to the forecast in a second. The rain chance will be higher. Most of this to the east of the Bahamas, but by the time we get into Friday, that does look like it's dry. It may not get a name, may get a name, doesn't matter. By the time we get into Friday and Saturday, we're going to see this moving in with tropical storm-like conditions into Bermuda. And then let me stop it here. I've been mentioning this term too much in this video, the tail of this system. You can see it here. Look at this. As this system rolls into Bermuda on Saturday, look at that. There's the tail of this. Now, it's going to be thin. It's not going to impact everyone, but in this, strong tropical downpours for some of us, and that'll cause more flooding. That's exactly what I'm talking about. As systems lift to the north, there's a lot of rain, as we know, in Colombia and Venezuela, and that is just going to feed into this system. That's really a feeder band, if you will, into this system, and that'll be a concern Friday into the upcoming weekend. So it's going to be a long haul for some of us. Eastern Pacific side, rainstorms, boy, I wish some of these were up to the north. No signs of development yet, but things are starting to bubble up, and you see the lack of rain. It's been catastrophic to some degree. It has been in parts of Mexico, over toward Belize, thinking of you, all across Central America. I was mentioning everyone, still the higher chance of rain, Costa Rica and Panama. You get to the north, it is just too dry. The scenes coming out of there have been so horrible. So we're thinking of you on the flip side of things. Some of us too wet, some of us way too dry. And then here, as we go through the day today, not bad Atlantic region of Canada, but as we work our way into tomorrow, you see some of the rain moving in. It'll be more unsettled. Newfoundland back toward New Brunswick. There's some of the rain back toward the mid-Atlantic. And then as we get into Friday, another round of some rain, so staying unsettled over the next few days. Not as much today, but more so Thursday and Friday. So Jamaica, it just depends on where some of the thunderstorms pop up. If they're in the same spots as yesterday, we'll get some isolated flooding. Let me know in the comments your location, what you get or don't get. Cayman Islands, rain chance only 20 to 30%. So you see how this is on track. Trinidad and Tobago, we could get a few showers trying to sneak in today. Barbados, about a 30 to 40%, but this would be passing variety, and a 30% chance today in St. Lucia, a 40% chance for tomorrow. Grenada, rain chance stays small. Same thing, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We got to get some rain in here. The pattern not quite breaking yet. There's been some changes to it, but still not enough rain. Martinique, 30 to 40% chance, and a few passing showers possible in Dominica. The rain chance slightly elevated the next couple days, and over toward Guadeloupe. Rain chance only 20 to 30%. Antigua and Barbuda. With that said, we had a few showers around this morning. That's why the rain chance is not zero. Isolated showers possible. St. Kitts, Nevis, and Montserrat, 40% chance today, 40% chance the next couple days in Anguilla and St. Bart's, and a 30% chance St. Martin, Saba, and Statia. There's that high chance of rain starting to work in. If you don't have it yet, for the most part it's coming, but it's where that core of rain is. Still kind of hard to pinpoint. So in Puerto Rico, we're on the lookout for some flooding and some power outages. Got you covered. same thing as we work our way toward the U.S. and British Virgin Islands and the Dominican Republic. Life-threatening flooding, Dominican Republic back toward Haiti. By the end of the week, the rain chance going down and hopefully some of the rivers with it. Bahamas, a lot of this staying to the east, but some unsettled weather around. And the Turks and Caicos, it really depends on how much this shifts off toward the west, but the rain chance will be elevated. This is not good news in Belize. Next to nothing in the rain bucket. Rain chance, now Aruba, as I was mentioning, just on the edge of it. It could be one of those scenarios where that feeder band moves in over the next few days, and that's what I'll be watching. And I'll be watching that too in Curacao and Bonaire. Guyana, you've been letting me know in the comments. Keep me posted. We've had that flooding around. The rain chance stays elevated over toward Suriname. And then as we work our way toward Cuba, isolated storms, better chance eastern and closer to this system. Costa Rica and Panama, rain chance stays on the higher side, but to the north, not as much. And you see on Honduras, it would be mainly an interior passing a shower today in Yucatan and Mexico, mainly on the dry side. Northern Venezuela, rain chance 40%. And then as we get into Bermuda, we're watching Saturday, late Friday into Saturday, tropical storm-like conditions. So thank you for spreading the word on that across Bermuda. So the extreme flooding does start today. Boy, this has been on track from what we've been talking about for days and days. Watching those rivers, the mudslides, and the quick rise in the water, especially around those rivers. Please, please be safe. And then Bermuda will have some wind and rain around on Saturday, days away from the start of hurricane season. So thank you for joining this channel and being part of it, and just sharing your information, putting the comments down, location, and what you got. I do appreciate that. Please be safe, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.